It was one of the most audacious crimes to ever shake the world of cryptocurrency, an event that unfolded in such an unexpected and calculated manner that it left everyone in its wake stunned and speechless. The mastermind? A mere 20-year-old named Malom from Singapore. Alongside his accomplice, Genial Serrano, Malom managed to pull off what was, at the time, one of the largest person-to-person heists in history. The stolen funds amounted to a jaw-dropping $230 million in cryptocurrency, a sum that had the power to reshape lives and destroy futures. The story begins innocuously enough, with a single, seemingly mundane notification. It was the kind of message anyone might receive in the course of using online services, a notification about unauthorized Google account access. Most people would have glanced at it, thought little of it, and moved on. But for Malom and Genial, it was the first part of their intricate scheme. The scam began with this very notification being sent to their unsuspecting victim. To the untrained eye, it seemed like a simple security alert. But for Malom, it was the opening he needed. Days passed, and soon, Malom himself made his move. He called the victim, pretending to be a Google employee. His voice was smooth, convincing, and entirely believable. He reassured the victim that the unauthorized access attempts were nothing to worry about. After all, Google had an extensive security team in place, didn't they? They would handle the issue with no problem. But Malom didn't stop there. He continued to engage the victim, asking them about the details of the access attempts. He asked how the victim managed their account, how often they used it, and whether they noticed anything unusual in their recent activities. Every question was designed to gather just enough information to sow the seeds of doubt and vulnerability in the victim's mind. Over the course of several conversations, Malom expertly manipulated the victim into trusting him, building a rapport that was almost impossible to break. The victim, who had no reason to suspect anything malicious, continued to offer up information, piece by piece. And with each detail, Malom was inching closer to his prize. He eventually convinced the victim to provide enough information to gain access to their Google Drive. This seemingly harmless move would become the linchpin of the entire heist. Inside the Google Drive were personal documents, sensitive files, and, most importantly, a wealth of information about the victim's financial holdings. Among those files was everything Malom needed to understand the magnitude of the wealth they had stumbled upon, a treasure trove of details about the victim's cryptocurrency investments, particularly their holdings on Gemini, a major cryptocurrency exchange. But Malom wasn't working alone. His partner in crime, Genial Serrano, was just as skilled at manipulation as Malom himself. Genial's turn came shortly after Malom had gained access to the victim's Google Drive. Posing as an employee of Gemini, Genial called the victim, pretending to be part of the customer service team. He explained that the victim's account had been flagged for suspicious activity, and that, in order to protect their holdings, they needed to take immediate action. The victim, understandably nervous about the security of their assets, complied without question. Genial's voice was soothing, calm, and full of authority. He told the victim that in order to prevent any further risks to their holdings, they needed to download a special piece of software. It was supposed to be an added layer of protection, a tool designed to safeguard their crypto assets. What the victim didn't know was that this software wasn't designed to protect anything at all. Instead, it was a carefully crafted tool to steal the victim's private keys, the very keys that would allow Malom and Genial to access the victim's cryptocurrency and drain it without a trace. The victim, still believing they were acting in their own best interest, downloaded the software, unknowingly installing a backdoor for the criminals to exploit. With that, Malom and Genial had what they needed. They could now access the victim's private keys, which were the keys to the kingdom of their cryptocurrency wealth. In the blink of an eye, they transferred a staggering 4,100 bitcoins, an amount worth $230 million at the time, into their own accounts. Just like that, the victim's life had been turned upside down, their assets gone in a matter of minutes. But the story didn't end there. Malom, intoxicated by the sheer scale of the heist, couldn't help but flaunt his newfound wealth. In fact, he seemed to relish the idea of making sure everyone around him knew exactly what he had achieved. He hit the streets of Los Angeles with the kind of bravado only someone who had just come into possession of $230 million could muster. Malom's spending spree was not just reckless, it was downright excessive. In a single night, he dropped $569,000 at a club. The receipts for that night alone painted a picture of pure indulgence: bottles of expensive champagne, exclusive table reservations, and a display of wealth that could not be ignored. But that was only the beginning. Malom went on to give away 5 Hermes Birkin bags to random women at the club. These iconic bags, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars each, were handed out like party favors. It was as if Malom was trying to show the world that he had everything and that he could do whatever he wanted with it. But his spending didn't stop at designer bags. He made several other high-profile purchases, buying 31 supercars, ranging from the rarest luxury models to the most high-performance vehicles on the market. His garage was soon filled with million-dollar cars, each more extravagant than the last. He bought a $2 million watch, not to wear for any practical purpose, but to wear as a statement, a reminder of his success, no matter how it had been earned. In addition to his cars and watches, Malom rented several luxury apartments across both Los Angeles and Miami, continuing his spree of ostentation. The money seemed endless, and for a time, it appeared as though nothing could stop him. His life became a whirlwind of excess, with no signs of slowing down. He was living a life that many could only dream of: luxury, fame, and freedom all rolled into one. But as with all things that are too good to be true, the cracks began to show. Malom's lavish spending spree was a direct line to his downfall. The authorities, who had been quietly monitoring the movement of large sums of cryptocurrency, soon picked up on the unusual activity linked to the stolen funds. They followed the trail of transactions, all of which led to exchanges, wallets, and accounts that raised red flags. Soon, they started piecing together the puzzle. And when they connected the dots between the stolen crypto and Malom's extravagant purchases, they had enough to make their move. Malom's time at the top was rapidly coming to an end. Authorities tracked his movements, and it wasn't long before they caught up with him. He had flown from Los Angeles to Miami on a private jet, no doubt thinking he had escaped notice. But the authorities were already there, waiting for him. The once celebrated criminal, whose name had become synonymous with excess and recklessness, was arrested in Miami, and his empire of stolen wealth crumbled overnight. Malom Lamb's story serves as a stark warning of how easily trust can be manipulated, how quickly someone can lose everything, especially in the digital age, where personal information is just as valuable as cash. The heist itself may be over, but the lessons it offers are clear. Never trust someone who has not been thoroughly verified, and always take steps to protect your sensitive data. The crypto world is rife with risks, and as the tale of Malom Lamb proves, anyone can become a target. In the wake of the heist, there are 3 critical steps anyone holding cryptocurrency should take to protect their assets. The first is to never grant remote access to your devices to individuals whose identity you haven't verified. This simple precaution could be the difference between keeping your funds secure and becoming the next victim. Second, always be cautious of unsolicited communications, especially those that claim to be from trusted companies like Google or Gemini. Scammers are experts at impersonating legitimate organizations, and a single slip-up can cost you everything. Finally, use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts and enable 2-factor authentication whenever possible. These measures, though simple, can provide a crucial extra layer of protection against unauthorized access. As for Malom Lamb, his story may have ended in a prison cell, but the ramifications of his crime will be felt for years to come. He didn't just steal $230 million, he stole the sense of security that many had once felt about the crypto world. And though the authorities may have caught him, the damage to his victim and to the trust placed in the digital currency ecosystem remains.